Straight out the boot room to Wembley, our second home. We come to conquer, no, we never walk alone. We dominate, the cream of the crop, drawing all our strength from the roar of the cock. It's all for one and one for all. Pass a move, we're talking total football. Here we go again, Roy's Red Machine. Liverpool, the greatest team the world has ever seen.
Hello and welcome back to the Liverpool Groove. Today, I am delighted to say that I am joined by former Liverpool goalkeeper, Chris Kirkland. Chris, thank you ever so much for joining me. It's a pleasure.
No, my pleasure, mate. Thanks.
So it's very fitting, I think, that you're coming onto the podcast, 22 years nearly to the day that you signed for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Which, sorry to say, this 22 years ago, that must make you feel a bit old, but we will come on to that shortly. Obviously, you grew up in Leicester, but you've always been a Liverpool fan. What was your first memory of watching Liverpool?
1988, when I was 7, used to stand on the Kop. I think it was Nottingham Forest. I think it was 5-0, if I can remember right. It was around November time. But that was my first. Yeah, that was my third. But always been a red. Got all the kit, the shin pads when I was younger. Every Christmas, birthday, near enough. And then, my dad took me up. We got the bus up from Hinckley, the supporters bus from Hinckley outside a cafe. Took me up to Anfield the first time, and they were just the best days ever. Whenever they could afford it, we would go up, and it'd take 6 hours up on the bus, 6 hours back, but they were the best days ever. And and then to, like you said, 22 years yesterday. Somebody sent me a message in the morning. I didn't, because you forget as the years go on, sort of thing, and I can't believe it's 22 years. It's it just makes you certainly feel older, but it makes you think, I wish I could go back to that day. But I think everyone thinks that at certain points in their life. But listen, it was a dream. It was a dream come true to be a Liverpool fan, and then to sign for the club and play for the club, and now to still be involved and live in the area still is amazing for us.
No, it's some journey, and it's one only very few people can relate to. So to be able to do it yourself must have been amazing for you. Who were some of your footballing heroes growing
up? John Barnes, obviously. I think it was first when he was at Watford, and then obviously when he went to Liverpool. But Steve Grizovic for me, really, when I was at Coventry. From 14, 15, I started training with Coventry, and he was the first team goalkeeper. And then when I signed youth team at Coventry, he, just the way he worked, the way he conducted himself, because back then we stayed in the lodge, which is where the first team trained, so it was a bit different back then. And we had to do all the jobs for the first team, which loved doing: clean boots, clean cars. I was cleaning Dion Dublin's car, Richard Shaw, big Oggies. And I'm talking about back then, the cars were like, I don't know if you remember the old Mercedes, and they were like 50 foot long. They were like hearses. So it took us, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think that's what they miss these days. I think, I see some youth teams and academies, and I know things have changed and the times change, and you have to sometimes, but I think it would do a lot of the youngsters these days good to do what we did when we were kids in the academy. As I said, all the jobs, clean the footballs, everything, but we were in and around it. So I seen Oggy, the way he worked. He was the first in, last out every day. His attitude, the respect he got off other people, and the respect he gave to people as well, and that's how I thought. Well, that's the way you have to be, not just as a footballer, but as a person as well. So I was very lucky. I had Gordon Strachan, Jim Blythe was my goalie coach. So, from an early age, Gary McAllister was there, Paul Williams, Richard Shaw, David Burrows. There was a lot of senior pros there that were just fantastic role models for me. And I was very lucky. I've always said this, very lucky.
Yeah. Obviously, as you were breaking through in the Coventry first team, Magnus Hedman was the first choice goalkeeper at the time. What was he like to sort of train alongside and being out?
He was great with me. He really was. So Oggy was coming to the end. Magnus was there. We had Morten Hilgard as well. But Magnus was amazing. He's never had any issues. I used to room with him. He used to bloody snore though. So I had to ask to move rooms. to a single room because I just said, listen, it's the loudest snore I've ever heard. He just kept me up all night. And he used to tell me, he said, just throw something at me, throw something at me. And I'm thinking, I'm 17, 18. I'm getting Sweden's number one to tell me to throw something at him during the night. I thought, I can't do that. Like, I just thought, there's no way I can do that. So in the end, I said, listen, mate, I've got to move rooms. And the move me in the end. But he used to pay the room bill. He was great. Even when I took his place, he was never anything but brilliant towards me.
Yeah. So was he like very encouraging of your development and things like that? Was he?
Gutted, but he never gave me any issue. Always there for advice, or I could always go to him. Even when I was playing in his place, he was spot on with us.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So obviously, as you mentioned, you joined Liverpool 2001 for the British record fee of £6 million, which, saying it today, sounds mad, in fairness. Can you remember the feelings that you had when you heard Liverpool wanted to sign you?
Everything, petrified, nervous, excited. But yeah, I mean, I was 18, 19, 19, 20 coming up to bit. I've always been a home person. And that was the biggest thing, leaving home, thinking, going up to Liverpool, leaving home. I was number one at Coventry. You know, I was happy there. But it was the only club I'd have left for. And I was at Highfield Road when the bid come in. And I was in a health and safety meeting with the youth team because I was still involved with the youth team. And Gordon Strachan just popped his head round the door, and I knew it was coming because somebody was telling me to be ready. An agent who was looking after it was saying, look, the bid's coming today, just be ready, have your bags packed. So my bags were packed at home. And I just froze. I just went into his office and he said, you know, we've had a bid. We don't want to lose you. We don't have to sell you. But we're going to leave it up to you because we know you're a Liverpool fan. What do you want to do? And I just thought, I don't know. Honestly, I was like, oh my God. He went, and Oggy was actually at the ground. He said, look, Oggy's here. Do you want me to bring him in? So Oggy come in and just sat down, and Gordon said, look, we've had a bid off Liverpool for Chris, and he's a little bit, you know, he's a little bit nervous. And Oggy just looked at us and went, get in your car and get up the M6 to Liverpool. He says, you won't regret it. He says, you know, you deserve to be there. You're good enough to be there. He says, what are you waiting for? And as soon as he said that, I went, okay, I'll go up, and went up to Liverpool, did all the medical, and signed the day after on deadline day.
Yeah, it's an incredible story that it happened that fast. I read earlier that Arsenal were also linked with you at the time, but was it only ever going to be Liverpool or nothing?
Always Liverpool or nothing. Yeah, there was a few teams interested, and but Liverpool come up with the money. But even if the others would have bid more, I wouldn't have gone to them. It would have been Liverpool, or I would have stayed at Coventry.
Yeah. Did you feel any pressure at all for the price tag, or is that not something you thought about?
When you're younger, mate, you're not. All I wanted to do was train. Being every day, I was more or less first in every day, last to leave, like Oggy taught me. I just wanted to train and train and train. After training, I'd be in the gym. And no, I didn't feel the pressure. You don't when you're younger. It's not until I think I started to feel the pressure more when you sort of slow down, your body slows down. So when I got to around 30, that's when you start to notice that your reactions are not as quick as they once were. Your body's not recovering as quick as it once did. But when I was younger, no, you're fearless. You don't think about anything. What you want to do is play, train, play in the reserves, play in the first team, be on the bench. You just want to do it all.
Yeah. So obviously you joined the same day as Yeti Dudek. What was he like in training? What was he like with you?
Well, very quickly I thought, my God, I'm not going to play here. I'm never going to get in because he was awesome. He was awesome when he first come, and in training, in games, he was just steady Eddie. I roomed with it Jersey again. Great bloke. We hit it off straight away. But I thought, my God, it's going to take some to shift this guy because he's brilliant. And obviously had a couple of injuries, but when he obviously the Man U game was when Jersey saw, you know, that really hit him hard. What happened in the Man U game, and I got my chance, and just unfortunately when I got a run of games, the injuries, the serious injuries, hit me all in one go, sort of thing, one after the other.
Yeah, well, I mean, it brings me perfectly onto that. You were in a great run of form, playing a lot of games. You got the injury just before the 2003 League Cup final. Which obviously massive disappointment for you. I was reading earlier today that Gerard Houllier he gave you his winner's medal. Is that right?
He did, yeah. Yeah, that just shows the man he is. He signed me, owed him everything, but he weren't just a football manager. He was a proper person, proper human being. Cared for his players, cared for our families, always asking how your family is, how Leona was, my girlfriend, then wife now, obviously, but always wanted to know that you were happy off the pitch, because he knew that if you were, then you would perform better on it, and vice versa. So he was just, he come up to us, gave us his medal. Didn't expect it, but wasn't surprised, because that's just the way he was. He was a proper man, and he's sorely missed to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Did obviously, when you get a serious injury, you must have some fears in the back of your mind that the club might be looking to replace you, or you mightn't get as much game time coming back from an injury. Did that gesture from Gerard Houllier, did that allay any fears that you might have had?
Yeah, well, when I did my knee down at Crystal Palace, we flew back, and he sat me next to him on the plane at the front and said, "Right, we'll give you a new deal." I still had 4 years left on my contract, and he says, "No," he says, "and we're going to look after you. You'll come back from this. You'll be stronger." And I think 2 days after that, I signed a new 6-year deal. So again, just the magnitude of the man and the club as well. Listen, Liverpool have always been. Everybody knows that Liverpool do things the right way on and off the pitch, and that just proved it again. Just what a class act the club is, and what a class act Gerard Houllier was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a little while back we had Gregory Vignal on the podcast, and he absolutely echoed those sentiments. And the man Gerard Houllier was just levels above anything that he's ever met in his life. And yeah, it was a very sad day for everyone, fans, and obviously yourself and other players when he did pass.
Yeah, I went to the memorial at Anfield, because again I think there was only 30 or 40 people allowed to go, because it was during obviously the COVID times and stuff. So it's such a shame, really, because if everything was normal and COVID wasn't a thing, and that stadium would have been packed out for his memorial, because that's how well liked and loved he was by everybody, and it's such a shame. I know that there was a little bit after that when the fans come back in, but that's such a shame that we couldn't celebrate his life properly with a packed out Anfield for his memorial, because if anyone deserved it, he did.
100%, yeah, absolutely. So similar to 2003, 2005 Champions League final coming up. Again, you missed that game through injury. I don't know whether it would have been yourself or Scott Carson on the bench anyway. But after that, I believe again Scott Carson offered you his winner's medal, but you refused that one. What was the story with that one?
Yeah, because we've always been mates, me and Scott, and yeah, he did. He said, "Look, you played in the early games," but I said, "Listen, so have you. You're here today. You deserve it." And there was a lot of medals that went missing. There was meant to be more. We was meant to get one, particularly if you'd played in the earlier rounds, and obviously Olympiacos game. But don't know what happened. Some of the story is that a lot of obviously Rafa had a lot of staff, and a lot of the medals went walkies sort of thing, and I think got put into pockets, and a lot of us, I think there's a few of us that didn't end up getting medals, which was disappointing. But that wouldn't have happened under Gerard's tenure, that's for sure. But listen, that's gone now, but I get asked all the time. Yeah, I was gutted, but when you don't play in the final, even if you're playing every game before it and the semi-finals and stuff, if you don't play in that actual final, you don't really deserve. I always thought I didn't really deserve it anyway, because the final is a one-off game. No matter what's happened before to get there, the final is that one game, win or lose, where you end up getting a medal or not. So I didn't really feel like I deserved it, but it would have been nice to have one.
Yeah. Was that the difference then with 2003? Obviously, you played every game in the run-up to the final in 2003, with the exception of the final. Was that the difference in them two scenarios for you, do you think?
Again, like I said, even the 2003 final, it's if you don't play in the final, it always leaves a little bit of, you always don't think you fully deserve that medal because you've not played in the final. That's the best one. Well, that's shouldn't say things like that, but I think if you ask most footballers, if they don't play in that actual final, then I think a lot of them feel the same.
Yeah, no, I suppose that's a fair point, unless your name's John Terry and you go up in a full kit, I suppose. Obviously, after leaving Liverpool, you had arguably your best spell of your career at Wigan. What was your time at Wigan like? How much did you enjoy that?
Yeah, like you said, it was probably the best I played. The deal nearly didn't get done because Rafa was messing around again. So I actually went to Wigan to sign on the day, and they made me wait. Not Wigan, but Rafa made us wait in the canteen at Wigan for 2 days. I wasn't allowed to train. I wasn't to deal because he was still messing around with the deal. And it was brilliant from Paul Jewell, really, because he was a manager. And I was training in the gym, but I couldn't go out and train because I'm not signed for him. Nothing was agreed yet, even though it was all agreed. And then Rafa shifted it last minute. So Paul Jewell, like after 2 days, I was literally sat in the canteen both days, and he just come down and said, "Right, I've had enough of this." He said, "Just go with it. Come upstairs. I want you to hear what I'm dealing with." So I went up. Paul Jewell took me into his office, and I listened to the first conversation. I won't mention any names. He was on the other end of the phone, but they were messing around. And then he rang up Frank McFarland, who was like the go-between. And he just rang up Frank and put it on loudspeaker, and he told me to be quiet. Frank didn't know I was on the phone, and Paul just said, "Right," he says, "this has gone on long enough, Frank." He said, "This either gets done in the next 10 minutes or I'm sending Chris back down the M58. And Paul Jewell was looking at me going, "I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that." But Frankie went, "No, listen," he says, "I know they're messing around." He says, "Give me 2 minutes." And Paul went, "I'm being serious. If you don't come back on the phone in 2 minutes and say the deal's done, you can have him. I'll drive him back down myself to the 58. And Frankie went, "No." And then literally 2 minutes later, the phone went, and it was Frank saying, "Yeah, right, everything's done, everything's agreed," and it was done. But that was just Rafa being Rafa and thinking that that was just him trying to say, "Well, you'll sign when I say you'll sign," and not before it. But Paul Jewell was brilliant with it. And yeah, but it just goes to show, as I said again, I think most people have asked me about Rafa, and I think a lot of players have said the same. He had no man management skills at all. It was all just football, football, football with him. But listening to it on the other end of the phone was certainly something I'll never forget with the way he was.
Yeah, it must have been eye-opening for you, because obviously, as a player, I suppose you're not privy to that side of things, are you, really? So,
but Paul was brilliant. So he said, "Listen, even if they don't come back in 5 minutes," he said, "we're still signing you." But just, yeah, I'm putting the pressure on them now, and it got sorted. And yeah, everything just clicked. I literally got off that phone call. He said, "Right, get your training kit on, go outside." And from the first session, everything just clicked into place, and it was the best I played over probably 4 years, 2006, 2010, and then Roberto Martinez come in, and things changed again. But yeah, that spell from 2006 2010 was the best in my career. And yeah, I had a brilliant time at Wigan for them 4 years. The last two weren't so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good club, really good club. We had some good players, but we had a brilliant team spirit, which I think one season we finished eighth or ninth, which was unheard of for Wigan.
Yeah, I think at the time when Wigan first come up, everyone just expected them to go straight back down, and I think it was the same every season until they did actually go down. They were just favourites every season, and like you said, that sort of never say die attitude that was clearly instilled in the players and things like that. Because yeah, you've had some great players, but then there was other players who've been at other clubs and it hasn't worked for them. And I thought, yeah, just like I say, I think it's just man management and just installing that belief.
It is. Well, Paul Jewell was there, and then Steve Bruce come in, and I've got nothing but great things to say about him. He just Eric Black was his assistant, and under him was the best I played in my career, and certainly a lot of the other lads as well. Big S was there, obviously, and Kev Kilbane. We had so many players, but he just got us clicking. He just got us Wilson Palacios, Antonio Valencia. We had a very good team then, an even better dressing room.
Yeah. Obviously, your spell at Wigan resulted in your only England cap. How proud of a moment was that for you?
Yeah, again, I get asked this all the time. It's not my proudest moment. My proudest moment will always be signing for Liverpool. The team you supported and stood on the coppers, that'll never be topped in my debut for Liverpool. But yeah, playing for England was great. But it was a long time coming. I'd been in squads and not played, and then missed out through injury. So I was just glad to get it out of the way, because it was always on people's talk, and whenever squads got announced and stuff. So it was good just to get the game and to play it. And then listen, I didn't make any more appearances after that, unfortunately. But yeah, proud moment. It would have been better if it was at Anfield. I'd have maybe debuted instead of Old Trafford. But it was a proud moment. But nothing will ever beat signing for Liverpool and playing for Liverpool.
Yeah, obviously, I imagine your dad was really happy when you made your England debut.
Yeah, there was a few. So there was a few involved with the bet. I didn't know about the bet until the day before the game. I never knew he put it on. So he kept it in his pants drawer for 13 years, a little betting slip. But I found out the day before off the press. The press somehow got hold of it. Rang my dad and he said, "Yeah, it's true." He said, I don't care even if you don't play. He said, just proud to see you playing for Liverpool, and this will be a bonus. But yeah, there was a few of them that got paid out, which was great.
Yeah. So since retiring, you've been involved in some coaching. Obviously, I think your first little coaching spell was at Port Vale with Michael Brown.
Yeah, Brownie. Yeah. So I went down there, did bits, enjoyed it. And then I think Brownie left, and yeah, it was just the travelling and stuff like that, and I wasn't in great headspace then as well. So I wanted something closer to home. So Liverpool Women's. I was a goalie coach there, and then Neil Redfern left, and sort of me and Vicky took on the reins there, which was a great experience. And obviously now the women's game is gone through the roof, which is great, and firmly in the spotlight now, and it's inspiring a lot of ladies and a lot of girls coming up. That's where I've been tonight. It was a girls' tournament tonight over in Tiber, Top Steph, for suicide awareness. So that the girls' games now is skyrocketed, and it's brilliant to see. But yeah, bits and that, and I was doing bits at Tranmere as well. Tranmere lost their goalie coach, and I was sort of covering for both as well, which was Mickey Mellon was there, great bloke. Got on great with him, and I was covering with that. And so yeah, I wanted to keep involved with football. But then obviously with the addiction side of stuff and mental health, which we'll probably talk about in a bit, it was I just couldn't concentrate, and I just felt as though I wasn't giving them the service that they needed, and that I wasn't giving them, my full commitment, even though I was there and stuff like that. My mind was elsewhere, so I had to walk away from it in the end, and obviously get help, which I went and did, and in 2019, and then I got well and got off the painkillers and stuff, and then I thought, right, what do I want to do now? Because you need a purpose to get up in the mornings. You need a structure, especially being everyone always says it, and it's well known, being a footballer, and the structure it gives you. Once that's gone, it's a massive void to fill, and it's scary and daunting, and that's why a lot of ex-players and that are in a lot of trouble, mentally and whatnot. So I thought, well, what can I do? And the foundation come up, and started doing a few coaching sessions there, and thought this is all the foundation is. It's football, but it's not. It's so much more. And I'd lived in the area 20 years, but I had no idea what the Liverpool Foundation did, and supporting families, and putting disability sessions on, and employment, and it's just incredible. And I thought that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm still doing to this day, and absolutely love it all.
Yeah. Have you got any plans to go back into any coaching side of things anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, no. But listen, it's difficult, because once football's all you've done and you've known, it's I never rule anything out, but I'm certainly love doing what I'm doing with the foundation now. I love the variety of the stuff I do, different things, going to things, representing the foundation, which is my role as like an ambassador for them. And for now, no desire to go back into it, but yeah, I'd imagine there'll probably come a day where I might want to, but I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. So you mentioned it.
Well, then that'll be different.
Yeah,
I'll drop everything for that.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned it there about obviously the painkiller addiction, and you've been very open about that the last 12 months or so. How did opening up about all of that help you overcome it?
Well, I went. Listen, I started them in 2012. So when I left Wigan and was travelling to and from Sheffield, change of routine, everything like that. I was in the car long hours, and I got hold of some because I had a little tweak before the first game, and I got hold of some and thought, oh great, this made me feel brilliant. This, and so I took them, and it just gradually progressed. I retired in 2016 through that, got help off the PFA. Retired through mental health, but obviously the tablets sent me down that road because they just messed me up completely. Got off them for about a year, then started to miss football, miss the routine. Was tempted to try and make a comeback, tried to, but I just, when you've been out of the game a year and you're getting older, I was nearly 36. My body just couldn't do it, and so that was another knock. And I thought, what am I going to do? What I'm going to do? So I went back on them stupidly. And then I went to rehab admitted I had a real problem to the wife in 2019. Went to rehab, but again, didn't tell anyone. It was through mental health I was in there, but obviously the main thing was addiction. Come out of there and everything was good again. Started the stuff with the foundation. Everything was great. And then lockdown hit in 2020. And obviously, listen, it was just the most horrendous time for everyone, weren't it? It was just went through and obviously went back on them. I think everyone did things that needed to get them through that COVID time, which was horrible times. Went back on them and then got really bad again. And then it was nearly what we're in now, 18 and a half months ago. Just broke down and said to the wife and my friend, look, I'm hooked again, I'm bad. And I need help again. So, but this time what I did was, like, the time I went away in 2019, they said, right, you've got to be open, you've got to tell people, you can't keep it to yourself. But I never did that. When I come out of rehab, it was just the wife that knew and a couple of friends. And that's probably why I went back on them, because I could get away with it. But this time we said, right, if I don't stop now, they're going to kill me. Simple as that. I was taking ridiculous amounts. So we put things in place. So my wife's got drug tests in the room there. She can test me anytime she wants. The doctors can't speak to me unless my wife is present, either in the room or on the phone. The mailman, the postman, knows never to give me envelopes or parcels because I was getting them off the internet. So we put all the things in place to hopefully not fail this time. And the drug test are the biggest things, knowing that I can't get away with it now, because she can test me anytime, and my wife would know instantly if I'd gone back on them. So that's always in my mind, and that's the biggest thing that stopped me doing it for 19 months now, and hopefully always will.
Yeah, I mean,
but coming out and telling the world, and that wasn't for sympathy or anything. It was I just felt as though I had something that was holding me back to get off them and kick the habit. And I just thought, right, well, if everybody knows, I'll feel as though there's eyes on me all the time, and that'll prevent me from doing it again, because I'll be thinking, oh, they'll know, or they might notice something, or so that's why I did that, and we set things up, and thankfully it's worked up to now.
Yeah, I mean, massive credit for you for managing to stay clean for so long at the moment, and long may it continue.
But a lot of help though. It's like I said, I've tried to do it on my own many times, but it's my wife, my friends, work have been great. The club have been amazing. The foundation have been amazing. It's knowing that I've got that support around me. Parkland Place, the rehab place I went to, have been unreal. So I've got people I can turn to now, and needed them, because it's not been easy. The last 6 months have got obviously easy, but the first few months are horrendous. But then you learn to live without them then, and you go back to your normal self. I won't say normal self, but
yeah. I was looking at an interview done with Billy Moore yesterday. Obviously talking predominantly about the addiction, and I think one of the things that stuck with me from that was you saying your daughter is scared to take just the likes of paracetamol and things like that, and I can imagine that something like that really sort of cut deep for what you were going through.
It does, yeah. She said, yeah. So we were noticing she'd have headaches, and obviously girls go through stages, don't they, with the period starting and all that sort of stuff. So they get headaches, and she just wouldn't take anything. We said, look, just have paracetamol. And she was like, no, I don't want it. And then we said, look, what is it? Because she went, it's because I don't want to get, you got hooked on them. I don't want to get hooked on anything. So yeah, that was again a massive motivation for me to make sure I never did it again. Having daughter say that to us was another thing that I needed to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. And through you opening up, have you had anybody come to you for advice or even to say you opening up has helped me realize that I was in a bad place or anything like that?
Yeah, I've had loads and people that I'm close to I had no idea as well. But yeah, I've had loads of messages and DMs, and I try to get back to as many as I can. But the amount of messages I get, it's almost impossible sometimes. But I try to get back to as many as I can and give them advice. And they ask how did you manage to stop? So I tell them all the things I've just told you about the drug test and ice baths, Supreme CBD oil has been brilliant for me as well when I come off. For withdrawals, but telling people, being open and not hiding it, because with addiction, if there's a way you can hide it and think you can get away with it again, then you will. Simple as that. More barriers you can put up, and the more preventive measures you can put up, the better chance. And that's what I tell people. You've got to be open. And a lot of them say, "Well, I can't tell my wife. I can't tell my friends." You're going to fail if you don't. And that's why I tell them, because I did. I failed, twice. I didn't tell anyone and thought I could do it myself. And addiction's just too strong to listen. Some people, I'm sure, have done it on their own and got through it and amazing, but I couldn't. It's just too strong. It was too strong of a pull for me to not be able to do it, and that's why I needed other people to help me do it. And thankfully, I got that when I needed it.
Yeah. No, it's great to hear, and as I say, fantastic being able to stay off it for so long, and I hope you're able to continue down that path, because again, one of the things I remember hearing on the Billy Moore podcast was you saying you were looking at pictures of yourself from during the times of being addicted to it, and at the time you think I'm fine, there's nothing wrong, and then you sort of see a picture and it's an eye opener for you.
And my wife kicks herself saying, "Well, how could I not see that?" She looks at pictures when we're obviously doing stuff and friends as well, and yeah, you can see it. You can, you go back to 19 months past and before that, you can just see the difference. And a lot of people have said, "Oh, they're kicking themselves for not spotting it," but you're sneaky, you hide things with addiction, you lie, and because that's what it does to you. But I look back now, and that's how I know now. The world will know if I suddenly started, people will be able to tell now, because they know what to look for. And again, that's the advice I give to other people as well. You've got to be honest with yourself, but you've got to be honest with people around you, and that's the only way you can help and fight it. And I won't say beat it, because I don't think you ever beat it, but you learn a different way.
Yeah. So I know you've been involved with Walking's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll just hop on there. That weren't deliberate. Wasn't deliberate, but I'm always in the tops. Yeah, it's a great. Yeah. That was where I first opened up, actually. Well, the lads, because obviously I knew the lads, and we were on. We did the Three Peaks, and it was on the last leg of that, the Snowdon leg, and we had a break for 5 minutes, and somebody noticed something, and then I just let it all out then, and none of them knew, and that was the first time they found out. But again, the support they've gave us. We're together again on this Wednesday coming up. We've got a charity golf day in Doncaster, and it's an amazing group of people, and we love it when we all get together. But that's when I told them, and they had no idea at all.
Yeah. Another one you mentioned there was obviously Supreme CBD. Obviously, I can imagine that's helped with, some of the pains and niggles you've got from your playing days. But you've mentioned how it helps with things like anxiety and helping you with your sleep as well. But just how much has it actually helped? Were you a bit skeptical of it at first?
Yeah, of course you are. Listen, somebody tells you this and you think, no, that can't do that. And I tried a lot of oils before. I tried a lot of CBD stuff before when I tried to stop. But I just couldn't take to them. But then when I knew I was going to go through withdrawals and go cold turkey, and I'd been using the CBD oil, but not using it properly because I was still taking tablets and stuff. So I thought, right, I'm going to need that. So I got the strongest dose, and that did help us help us get through the withdrawals. Even still, it was still, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, the withdrawals. It was, all the pictures and the videos you see of people in the corner and shaking and sweating and being sick. That was me for about 5-6 days in the bedroom. But the oil certainly helped calm me down, the anxiety wise. So yeah, without that, it'd have been even worse, which I could hardly imagine. So now, listen, I don't use it all the time. I get a few messages saying, "Well, you just swap one addiction for another," but there's nothing in Supreme Seed. You can't get addicted to it. There's no THC in it like there is in America. It's not the stuff that gets you high. This is all natural. So I can use it. I can go 2, 3, 4 weeks without using it. But I know now when I start to feel anxious, you know yourself when you start to get a little bit built up and you go a little bit quieter and stuff like that, or you got something coming up that you're a little bit unsure about. I know exactly when I need to take it now and when I don't need it. But it has been a huge help, not just to me. I got thousands of messages. Again, can't get back to everyone, but I just said, listen, it might not work for you. Give it a go. What else you got to lose? And I'd say 95% of people that have gone to it have found massive benefits for all kinds of different, not just addictions, anxiety, depression, a lot of skin problems as well. People are using it for the rubs and stuff, and it's certainly helped me and a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Fowler pushes it a lot on Twitter and social media, and for good cause. Obviously, it's helping yourself. I know Paul Merson's involved, and there's just seems to be more and more people getting involved with it on a sort of weekly basis. Yeah,
I'm not saying it'd be legal. It's legal now, but listen, the only reason it's not on, you can't get it, is because pharmaceutical companies will go bankrupt. They'll go bust. Because if this stuff becomes available on the NHS, which it should be, because it's helping so many people, like I said, with so many different things, different problems. But as I said, the pharmaceutical companies will never allow it because the government gets too much money from that and all that sort of stuff. So, but a lot more people are turning towards it now, and Anthony's doing an amazing job of getting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about sort of social media and fans. You've got access to players and managers and everyone involved in football quite easily these days. A lot of fans like to criticise players on social media for being injured all the time. What would you say to the fans that do criticise players for getting injured, but also what would you say to sort of the players who, are reading these messages and obviously thinking the worst?
Well, I was never on social media when I played. It was only when I finished, and I was glad I wasn't, because a lot of lads were, and you could see them reading stuff, and it did affect them massively. Because no matter how many brilliant ones you get, how many amazing messages you get, it's always the one that you remember that's the bad one. That's just the way the human brain works. You always remember the bad one and think, why they said that for? All the others are saying this, but they're saying that. And that's the one you focus on. So, yeah, listen, nobody means to be injured. Nobody wants to be injured. So just think before you put things, just think, like I said, and social media can be a brilliant place for promoting things, for doing the right and trying to help people, but it can be an absolute toxic place as well. And these idiots that just go on it to abuse people, I just can't get my head around it. But they'll never change. It'll never change. But yeah, for lads that are on it, and if you can block people, obviously, but just be very careful on it, because it does cause a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Yeah. Definitely. Final one to finish on then. Alisson, we all know how good he is. For you, where does he rank? 1, in terms of the best in the world, or 2, in terms of the best keepers you've ever seen?
Well, it's the best in the world for me now, without a doubt. It has been consistently for quite a couple of seasons now, at least. It's hard to compare from past keepers, because it's different times and it's different. It's like people saying that the team of the 80s, when Liverpool won the league in 2019, they'd beat the Champions League, and that they'd beat the team of the 80s. I just don't like it, because it's 2 separate eras. Each era has got legendary status, and rightly so. So it's very different. Listen, for me, we're very lucky to have him, and hopefully we'll have him for a long, long time to come. And there's nobody better out there than him. A lot of credit goes to John Achterberg as well, because since he's come to the club, he's got better. There's no doubt about that. He's better now than when he first come, and that comes down to playing with better players, but also the training, the goalkeeper training. So John Axbird's done an amazing job with him. I know Jack's there as well. I think they've got Taffarel now as well, but John deserves a lot of credit. But he's. I mean, I've been down to watch him train a couple of times, and I took my daughter down once, and we were just watching it, and we were just like, we didn't speak. We just like watched, and we were like that. And then we got in the car after, and we were like, have we actually just seen what we've just seen? He was just, what I witnessed was just superhuman. That's all I can say. Like, he was just superhuman, saves, catching it, but everything, he was like, everything was sticking. The biggest compliment I can give him, people ask, well, why is he so good? He makes the hard things look easy, and he makes the easy things look easy.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest compliment I can make him. He's just a brilliant goalkeeper. And where will he go down in Liverpool's history? I'm not going to say that. I'll let other people say that. I'm certainly not going to get involved with that. We're just very lucky to.
Yeah, definitely. So just again, I said final one, but this will be the final one. Obviously, it's deadline day. There's a lot of rumours swirling around. You know, the rumours of Mohamed Salah, the bid from Saudi Arabia. If the rumours are true and they're going to offer close to 200 million, if the decision was yours, putting you on the spot a little bit, I apologise, but if the decision was yours, would you accept that?
As a fan, no, I wouldn't. No, and I don't think any fan would. But listen, we know it's a business, and it will come down to what the owners of the club say. I'd imagine if they, listen, I don't see how any team can turn down £200 million. I just think it's, I just, I'm worried. Obviously, it's 11 o'clock. The deadline shuts tonight. But I think they've got another week or 10 days or something in that league. Yeah. They can. Yeah, if you ask me now, I think he'll be gone. I think he'll go. It's just too much, And for him, it just suits him down to the ground, doesn't it? It's his culture. It's. I just think for him, there's too much noise around it for it not to be. Not for it to get done. I think, unfortunately, but it'll be if he does go, it'll be a massive, massive loss. And you can't replace him, can you? No. People say, who do you get to replace him? You can't replace him. Simple as that. There's some players you just cannot replace. But football moves on, life moves on, football moves on, and it will do again. Just because it's Mohamed Salah, football's that way. It'll move on, and. But yeah, I'm certainly. I don't want to turn the TV on. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't want to turn the TV back on, but I'd be very surprised if it didn't get done within the next how long.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Really, I think every fan is probably just hoping and praying doesn't go through. But like I said, it's a business, and that's the way the owners are going to look at it from a business.
And he's 31 now. He's 31, so you're getting offered 200 million for a 31-year-old. Unless you're probably Lionel Messi, then I just don't see how that can be turned down, unfortunately.
No, sadly, but let's hope and pray. But no, Chris, thank you ever so much again for taking the time to come on and have a chat with me. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, mate. Anytime.
Cheers.